world of professional wrestling, Harley Race stood out as an 8-time NWA World Champion, a pioneer whose talent and dedication in the later stages of his career were often overshadowed by the glitz and glamour of the era's dominant figures, notably Hulk Hogan. Despite being among the best, Race found himself in a space where his immense value remained unacknowledged, especially in the WWF, which chose not to place a world title on him due to the overwhelming popularity of Hulkamania. Yet, rather than succumb to frustration, Race was honored with a tournament that crowned him the king of wrestling, a statement to his unmatched skill and resilience. This narrative resonates deeply with many in the LGBTQIA+ community who, like Race, often navigate environments that may fail to recognize their worth and contributions. Just as Race fought tirelessly for respect and recognition in competitive arenas, individuals in the LGBTQIA+ community face their own battles against societal norms and prejudices. The struggle of acceptance and validation is an ongoing journey where the fight for one's identity mirrors the resilience of champions who refuse to be sidelined. Race's story teaches us that true greatness isn't always recognized in the moment. It reminds us that our worth is not defined by the accolades we receive, but by the courage to stay true to ourselves and to keep pushing forward, even when the world around us is reluctant to acknowledge our value. In the face of adversity, let us channel the spirit of Harley Race, embracing our individuality, championing our rights, and standing firm in our truth. Just as Race broke barriers in wrestling and found alternative paths to recognition, we too can discover new directions when we feel devout.
Today it has been my privilege to stand on a street corner in the town where our worship center is and to voice our discrepancies and frustrations against everything that's been going on this week with ICE, with the murder of Renee Nicole Good, and I have just felt overwhelmed. I've felt broken. I really have felt like a person who has no way of doing anything about these atrocities. But then I found myself today standing on a street corner with hundreds of other voices screaming out with me with the same broken hearts, and I feel a bit renewed. Now, there's still a lot that needs to be done, but when we have these moments that we see all these things taking place, we sit in our own brokenness because we feel alone. And we feel vulnerable in the extent that there's nothing that we can do about the event that had happened. Atrocity and brokenness and evil and hurt that came from a shooting. And you sit and you see it and it's like, what can I do? What could I ever do? And then I find myself on a street corner near our worship center and using my voice to say, hey, you're not alone. But when I'm shouting, you're not alone, I'm also shouting, hey, I need to be reminded that you're with me. I've been in some conversations over time about what do protests actually do? Do they affect the laws? Or are we ever going to change the minds of the people that we are protesting against? What good are protests? Well, I want you to know the best thing about a protest is you remind other people that they are not alone as they are stewing in their hurts. You remind other people that they are not alone as they are processing pains from visual harm. So every time that you wonder, does my voice matter? Every time that you wonder, if is what I'm saying ever truly going to make a difference? Every time that you wonder, is it worth it doing this one more time? I want you to be reminded of the times that you needed to be reminded that you're not alone. And every time that you speak up, you are reminding another person that they are not as well. I began doing videos like this almost 20 years ago. I did it to help me process things that are going on in the world. Today, I want to talk about three very specific wrestlers because of just the violent, painful hurtfulness that is going on in the world. Yesterday, I saw a horrific act on screen, and I am just dumbfounded today. So I want to talk about individuals within the world of professional wrestling that have been individuals willing to speak out against such things. Normally, the world of professional wrestling is looked at as a collection of meatheads doing a violent dance, but many of these individuals take their time to use their national focused popularity to speak out against things. The first I'd like to share with you about is Brody King. Brody King, very recently, because of the ICE raids and so forth happening, and with the intensifying of that work that happened yesterday, Brody King really did come to my mind as he began to take to social media and even coming to the ring with a Abolish ICE t-shirt on, using his popularity to show marginalized individuals that likes his product, hey, I'm here for you. Very recently, with AEW Wrestling having a national contract on an Atlanta-based television station, within their product, ICE commercials started coming on. And everyone, including the owner of the company, began to speak out, but no one as loud as Adam Page, who it was at the time the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And even going online to explain to individuals how to go to the networks and to complain about these commercials and how he didn't want his product connected to this violence. Stepping outside of the world of ICE, we have individuals like CM Punk, who has come out multiple times wearing t-shirts defending trans rights to women's bodily rights and using his talents to do so. Also recently with Mick Foley stepping away from the WWE because of their connections with the current president, and Mick Foley working with groups like RAIN to defend women's rights. Today I celebrate all of these professional wrestlers who have used their talents and skills to speak out for the care of others. In the world of professional wrestling throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the professional wrestling world saw no greater villain than Rowdy Roddy Piper. Throughout his feuds with Chavo Guerrero, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Hulk Hogan, and Jimmy Superfly Snuka, no hero ran into a roadblock like Piper. Within Piper's career, he had a catchphrase that really framed his imagery in the wrestling world. Roddy Piper would commonly say, "Just as you figured out the answers, I went and changed all the questions." We live in a very confusing world. Sometimes our world can become so confusing that we feel like we find the answer to one of our more pressing problems, only to discover that the problem itself has changed. And sometimes it's not the problem changing. Sometimes it's the way that we change to deal with those issues that changes how the question is asked. Today I had the blessing to hear a dear colleague share about the existence of Christ, that Christ did not come into the world to be an answer, but Christ came into the world to be a presence. As we live our lives, if we're constantly looking for answers, we forget to look at what the journey is creating within us.
Sometimes, if we're too busy looking for the conclusions, we forget to cherish how the journey is reshaping us. Looking at these words of Roddy Piper, just as you find the answers, I went and changed the questions, is the reality of realizing that we must be present within our lives and not just looking for solutions. If we only look at Christ as an answer, we forget to see how Christ is serving so many other people. If we only look at Christ as an answer, we only see Christ as a solution to our own journey. If we realize that Christ is a presence, then we realize that we have a shepherd in our life that is also shepherding other sheep. I challenge us all today to look at this phrase. Just as soon as you found the answers, I went and changed the questions. And as we look at a world full of ever-changing questions, remember we have a present shepherd who is not just the answer to our needs, but is also present as we discover the answers.